Chosen one, this may be the most important message you hear today. You are not imagining the weight you feel around you. You're not paranoid. You're not overthinking. What you're experiencing is real. You are being hunted. Hunted not by men in the shadows, but by spiritual forces that operate in darkness, entities that recognize your light as a direct threat to their survival. The moment you awakened to your divine essence, the battlefield was drawn. And the more you rise, the more aggressive they become. These forces work silently, influencing people, thoughts, and environments, trying to wear you down before you fully realize who you are. They see your light as a weapon, because it is. Your very presence disrupts strongholds, dismantles deception, and awakens sleeping souls. That's why the resistance feels so relentless. That's why some days feel like spiritual war zones, even when nothing seems wrong on the surface. You may feel targeted, isolated, or constantly under pressure, and you are. But it's not because you're weak, it's because you're powerful. You carry a divine code within you, and once activated, nothing can stop the light you radiate. That is exactly why you became a target. In this video, we're going to uncover the hidden signs that you're being spiritually hunted and how to reclaim your power in the face of this invisible war. If you've been searching for clarity, confirmation, or simply a deeper understanding of what's been happening to you, you're in the right place. Drop the number 777 in the comments if you've felt this spiritual pressure increasing lately. Type, "I am protected by light," to affirm your shield. And please, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a message that your soul needs to hear. Have you ever stepped into a space and immediately felt a heavy presence, like something unseen was locking eyes on your spirit? That quiet pressure, that chill that travels down your spine, even when no one is physically near you? Chosen one, that feeling is not a glitch in your mind. It's a real, spiritual phenomenon. You are being observed, watched, monitored. There are dark spiritual forces assigned to track your every movement, every vibration, every shift in your consciousness. Because the moment you begin to rise, the moment your frequency increases, they feel it. You shake realms when you pray. You disturb shadows when you step into alignment. This isn't paranoia, it's spiritual awareness. And the hunted can always feel the hunter's eyes, even when they hide in silence. These dark forces do not observe you for curiosity. They do it out of fear. They are terrified of what you might become if left undisturbed. So they study you. They examine your behaviors, emotions, routines, and reactions. If they can understand your rhythm, they think they can disrupt your balance. The stares you feel in public, the sudden distractions when you try to focus, the intrusive thoughts when you're about to meditate. These are not coincidences. These are spiritual ambushes meant to fracture your clarity. Their objective is to find the cracks in your spiritual armor and exploit them before you recognize your full power. But what they always forget is this: no tactic of darkness can stop a soul aligned with divine purpose. As this constant invisible surveillance continues, it begins to affect your mental and emotional state. You might notice yourself becoming hyper-aware, anxious, second-guessing everything. You may begin to question whether you're imagining things or if you're just too sensitive. But the truth is, you are sensitive, spiritually sensitive, and that's a gift, not a weakness. Sensitivity is how the spirit speaks. It's how your soul detects frequencies that your eyes cannot see. The weight you feel isn't your burden. It's spiritual data. It's a sign that you are navigating a battlefield where the enemy hides behind distractions, illusions, and psychological games. Don't fall for it. Every attack on your sanity is confirmation that your clarity is dangerous to them. And notice how these feelings intensify when you're trying to be still. When you sit in prayer, when you close your eyes to meditate, When you reach for that journal or turn on that spiritual video, suddenly there's a shift. The room feels colder. The distractions flood in. The doubts echo louder. That is not a coincidence. That is interruption. In those moments of divine connection, your frequency spikes, your light expands, and the enemy panics. They fear your stillness because it reconnects you with God. It aligns you with the truth. And when you're aligned, you remember who you are. So they throw everything they can to keep you disconnected. But chosen one, even your stillness is warfare. Your silence is sacred ground. Sometimes this surveillance doesn't come from spirits alone. It comes through people, individuals you work with, neighbors, even family members, people who suddenly seem overly curious, excessively opinionated, or energetically invasive. You start noticing questions that dig too deep, observations that feel intrusive, conversations that leave you drained. Many of these individuals don't even realize they're being used. They're puppets in a larger game. Their human form is being influenced by energies they can't perceive. But you can. That's the difference. You can feel the energetic dissonance behind their smile. You can sense the shadow behind their words. Trust that. Your intuition is the alarm system of your soul, and it's always trying to keep you safe. That's why you need to protect yourself spiritually and energetically every single day. Just like you wouldn't leave your physical body vulnerable, don't leave your aura unguarded. Imagine every morning a brilliant golden shield forming around you, a divine sphere of light, impenetrable to any dark energy. See it surrounding your body, wrapping your spirit in warmth, safety, and radiance. This is not fantasy. This is divine technology. Visualization is spiritual instruction to the unseen realm. When you declare your protection, the universe moves to honor it. And no matter how many eyes are watching, no matter how many shadows are lurking, your light, when shielded, becomes untouchable. So the next time you feel like you're being watched, don't panic, don't shrink. Recognize it for what it is: evidence. Proof that your presence is shaking spiritual structures. Proof that your destiny is so threatening, it requires constant interference. You are not here to live a quiet, small life. You were sent as a disruptor of darkness, a carrier of divine codes, a vessel of breakthrough. That pressure you feel? It's not punishment, it's prophecy. They're only watching because you are rising. And when light rises, shadows tremble. Keep shining, keep walking, keep praying. For what is hunting you now will one day witness your full awakening and be forced to flee. Every time you're on the verge of a breakthrough, suddenly something unexpected happens. You've felt this, haven't you? Just when you finally gain momentum, when the clarity comes, when your energy aligns, when your next step is in sight, boom, chaos, unplanned setbacks, emotional triggers, disruptive news. It's not random. These interruptions are spiritual ambushes disguised as everyday problems. You're being targeted in the moment of your ascension. These dark forces don't want you to finish what you started. They fear your arrival at destiny because they know what happens when a chosen one walks fully in purpose. You might notice your devices glitching, your finances suddenly straining, or your health dipping without explanation. These are not isolated misfortunes. They are tactical distractions. These forces know how to weaponize your environment. They can't touch your soul, so they try to drain your focus. If they can keep you busy fixing problems, they believe they can keep you too distracted to walk in purpose. And they often use repetition, one attack after another, hoping to exhaust your spirit until you collapse under pressure. But what they fail to understand is this: every time they attack, they reveal how powerful you really are. Each obstacle placed in your path is actually a backhanded confirmation that you're walking in divine alignment. The enemy doesn't bother with people who pose no threat. But you, chosen one, you carry a vibration that changes rooms, heals hearts, and activates others. And that's why you're being opposed. That's why, out of nowhere, people turn against you. That's why good plans fall apart. Not because you're failing, but because you're flying. And the spiritual realm has taken notice. These dark forces would rather see you suffer in confusion than shine in clarity. But your spirit came here to remember, rebuild, and rise anyway. In those moments when everything seems to be going wrong, it's easy to question yourself, to think maybe you made the wrong choice, to believe maybe you're not ready. That's exactly the seed they want to plant, doubt. But you must remember, resistance is often the loudest right before a breakthrough. If it feels like hell is breaking loose, it's probably because heaven is about to break in. These obstacles are birth pains, not signs of failure. The storm is not a sign to turn back. It's a sign that you're getting close to something they're terrified you'll reach. And then there are the waves. Those moments when obstacles don't come one by one, but crash in sequence. Financial stress, relationship tensions, emotional burnout, all at once. It feels suffocating. You start to wonder if you'll ever catch a break. That's not by accident either. The enemy tries to overwhelm you to disconnect you from your inner knowing. They want you reactive instead of responsive, desperate instead of discerning. But it's in these moments that you must pause, breathe, and remember who you are. You are not the storm. You are the anchor, the light, the calm inside it all. One of your greatest weapons in times of trial is perspective. Remember this: the presence of pressure is a sign of potential. You wouldn't be attacked if you weren't advancing. Every challenge you endure is shaping you, refining you, making you stronger for the next elevation. And yes, it is exhausting. Yes, it feels unfair. But your mission is not ordinary, and neither are you. That means your process will be more intense, and your preparation more sacred. Don't curse the fire. You're being forged in it. You were never meant to face these challenges alone. That's why the divine often connects chosen ones across time and space, to remind each other of what's real. Find strength in community, in prayer, in your vision. The resistance may be real, but so is your calling. You are being hunted because you're carrying something holy. You are under attack because you are under assignment. And once you fully understand that, everything changes. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start declaring, "Now I see." One of the most subtle and dangerous ways that darkness tries to dismantle a chosen one is not through external events, but from within. While many expect the enemy to come from the outside, the truth is that the greatest battles are often fought in the mind and heart. You begin to feel unworthy. You second-guess your own intuition. The dreams that once felt so alive now feel distant, almost impossible. This is no accident. These forces know they cannot stop the divine plans written over your life. But if they can convince you to delay, to shrink, or to abandon the process, then they win by default. And sadly, many do fall into this trap, not because they are weak, but because they are tired, spiritually drained, emotionally exhausted. This is how sabotage starts, not in one loud moment, but in thousands of silent ones. Fear becomes their favorite tool. Not the obvious kind of fear, but a quieter version. The kind that whispers, "What if you're not good enough? What if you fail? What if this is all in your head?" These thoughts begin to build walls inside your spirit. Slowly, your excitement dims. You become hesitant. Every decision feels heavier. But this fear isn't you. It's an energy designed to paralyze you. And here's the most dangerous part. Because it sounds like your own voice, you believe it. The voice of fear will always sound familiar, but its tone carries hesitation and confusion. You must learn to distinguish the divine voice within you from the interference that comes to delay your greatness. The voice of God calls you higher. The voice of fear demands you stay where you are. Then comes the doubt. You begin to forget the confirmations, the signs, the moments when you knew deep in your soul that you were chosen. Suddenly, you're questioning the very things that once gave you life. That is not coincidence. That is warfare. Doubt is designed to separate you from your memory of truth. Because if the enemy can erase your memory, he can rewrite your narrative. You'll begin to live as if you're average when you're actually anointed. You'll start comparing your journey to others, thinking you've fallen behind, when in reality, your path was always set apart. The most dangerous lie the enemy will ever sell you is the one that says, "You're not who you thought you were." But you are. You always were. You're just being distracted from it. And as fear and doubt take root, the final dagger is procrastination. At first, it's subtle. You push a task to tomorrow. You delay the prayer. You say, "I'll rest just a little longer before I start." Days turn into weeks. Weeks into months. Your vision stays buried. Your gifts untouched. This is how they operate. The forces of darkness don't need to destroy you. They just need you to delay long enough that you forget how to move forward. Procrastination becomes a spiritual paralysis, and over time, it robs you of your confidence, your energy, and your will to act. Not because you don't care, but because the weight of the delay makes it harder and harder to rise again. But even then, your light is not gone. It's buried beneath resistance, waiting to be reignited. Many chosen ones also experience financial struggles that seem to appear out of nowhere. No matter how hard you try to save, grow, or expand, there's always a leak, a setback, a sudden loss. And while some might say it's bad luck, those who walk with spiritual eyes know better. These financial blocks are often spiritual in nature, designed to weigh you down with worry. Money isn't just currency, it's energy. And when you're aligned, it flows. But when you're under attack, it becomes restricted. These forces try to use scarcity to distract you from your divine mission, hoping that if you're too busy surviving, you'll stop pursuing purpose. But you must refuse to let lack define your life. The source of all abundance is not the world, it is God. And when you remember that, you break the spell of limitation. To overcome these invisible chains, you must adopt an abundance mindset, not rooted in fantasy, but in faith. Speak life over your finances. Bless your resources. Declare that what you have will multiply. Give thanks even when it feels insufficient, because gratitude shifts energy. It tells the universe that you trust in divine provision even in the valley. And that kind of faith is dangerous to the dark realm. They want you to panic, to give up, to believe that you'll never rise. But every time you thank God in the middle of lack, you plant a seed for overflow. Every time you give with an open heart, you destroy the lie of scarcity. And soon, you begin to realize that the greatest wealth is not what's in your account, but what's in your spirit. Yet, beyond the money and the mindset, there's another battlefield even closer to home. Your relationships. People you love suddenly turning cold. Friends becoming jealous. Partners becoming distant or combative. These aren't always natural shifts. Often they are spiritual manipulations. Darkness can't get to you directly, so it goes through those around you. It uses familiar faces to deliver unfamiliar pain. And that betrayal cuts deeper than any attack from a stranger. Because when someone you trust begins to drain your light, it shakes your foundation. But don't be quick to assume everyone is evil. Some of them are simply open doors, vessels for energies they don't understand. That's why discernment is critical. Learn to recognize energy, not just words. Watch their patterns, not just their promises. Your soul always knows when someone's presence no longer feels safe. There is a particular kind of pain that only chosen ones understand. The heartbreak of being attacked by those who once claimed to love you. It's not just the sting of betrayal that wounds you, but the spiritual confusion it creates. How could someone you poured into suddenly become your enemy? How could someone who once supported you now seek to undermine your peace? The truth is, Many of these shifts are not personal. They are spiritual. When someone close to you becomes a vessel for dark interference, it doesn't always look dramatic. It starts subtly, with sarcasm, coldness, strange mood swings, or sudden resentment. These changes aren't random. They're infiltration. The enemy knows that the easiest way to break your spirit is to do it through someone you let close to your heart. These attacks through relationships are often the most effective because they reach the deepest layers of your emotional being. The enemy doesn't need to break your body, just your spirit. And the quickest way to wound a soul is through love turned bitter. You may find yourself in constant confusion, wondering what you did wrong. You replay conversations, search for signs, and try to fix what cannot be fixed. But this is not your fault. When you carry light, you will attract both admiration and aggression. The people in your life who have unresolved darkness within them may subconsciously begin to resent the light that you carry, not because you hurt them, but because your presence reminds them of who they are not ready to become. This is why spiritual discernment is more important now than ever before. Not every smiling face is safe. Not every "I love you" is pure. Some people are drawn to your light, but they don't want to honor it. They want to consume it. And the moment you stop feeding them, they turn. This transformation often happens fast, leaving you shocked and spiritually disoriented. But understand this: when you're in a season of elevation, separation is necessary. Some people simply cannot follow you to the next level of your calling, and the divine will allow their masks to fall, not to hurt you, but to protect you. Exposure is painful, but it's also sacred. It's how God clears your path. Still, the grief that comes with these betrayals is real. You might begin to isolate, to shut down, to question whether anyone is truly trustworthy. That's exactly the emotional stronghold the enemy hopes to create: loneliness. The enemy knows that chosen ones thrive in love, unity, and connection. So, if they can get you to fear vulnerability, they can disconnect you from your community, your support, your joy. You were not made to walk this path alone, but you were made to walk it with wisdom. You must learn to love with boundaries, to give without being drained, to serve without being used. Start paying attention not just to how people act, but how you feel after being around them. Do you leave feeling uplifted or depleted? Do you feel more connected to God or more confused about your path? These are signals. Your energy doesn't lie. Sometimes people can say all the right things, but their spirit carries chaos. And even when their words are sweet, their presence can feel heavy. Don't ignore those shifts. Don't explain away what your spirit is screaming. You are being protected by divine warning signs. Listen to them. Emotional safety is not optional for a chosen one. It is spiritual armor. And when you recognize the toxicity, it's your responsibility to respond, not with anger, but with wisdom. You don't have to fight. You don't have to beg for peace. You simply step back and let God handle what's beyond your control. Remember, closure is a privilege, not a requirement. You don't need every answer to move forward. You just need peace. Forgive without access. Love without attachment. Release without guilt. That is the mark of spiritual maturity. And that maturity becomes your shield. Because while others are being manipulated, you are being molded. You are becoming unshakable. But don't try to carry all this on your own. You need a circle, even if it's small. 1 or 2 souls who truly see you, understand your journey, and speak life into your process. Isolation is a tactic of the enemy, but divine connection is a gift from above. Seek those who pour into you with honesty, not ego. Surround yourself with those who don't just tolerate your calling, but honor it. These are your true allies, your soul family. And with them by your side, no spiritual attack can fully break you. Because where 2 or more are gathered in divine alignment, protection multiplies, light expands, and darkness must retreat. There are days when you walk into certain places and something just feels off. The air feels heavy, your chest tightens, and your spirit immediately tenses. You may not see anything wrong, but you know something is wrong. That's not just atmosphere. That's spiritual data. As a chosen one, your soul is highly sensitive to energetic frequencies, and dark forces often linger in physical spaces that haven't been cleansed or carry spiritual residue. These places might include homes, workplaces, stores, or even churches. You may find yourself feeling exhausted, anxious, or even physically ill after being there. It's not your imagination. It's your anointing responding to a presence that does not belong. These dark energies are not just passive. They are drawn to you. Why? Because light exposes darkness, and your very presence forces hidden energies to surface. They cannot hide when you walk in. That's why you may feel tension in rooms where everyone else feels fine. That's why you might feel uneasy around certain people who have done you no obvious wrong. You're not reacting emotionally. You're discerning spiritually. These forces can't manipulate you the way they do others, so instead, they attempt to drain you. By making you feel unsafe, uncomfortable, and out of alignment, they hope you'll stop showing up in your full light. But chosen one, never shrink in spaces that resist your energy. You are the purification. And often, the enemy times these attacks with your moments of vulnerability. When you're tired, overwhelmed, grieving, or doubting, that's when these energies intensify. They find cracks in your armor and attempt to flood in with confusion, fear, or despair. This is why spiritual hygiene must become a non-negotiable part of your life. Just like you cleanse your body, you must cleanse your aura and environment. You wouldn't walk through filth daily without washing. So why let your spirit carry the grime of unseen warfare? Smudging with sage, praying over your space, declaring protection aloud, and surrounding yourself with high-frequency sounds and symbols are not rituals of superstition. They are sacred protocols for survival. Your home should be a sanctuary, the place where your soul can breathe freely. But if you've ever walked into your house and felt heaviness settle over you, it may be time for spiritual intervention. Negative energies can attach themselves to objects, memories, and even conversations. Pay attention to how the energy of your space changes after certain visitors leave, or after you've spoken with someone who carries darkness. Do your lights flicker? Do you feel drained or irritable for no reason? These are not random symptoms. They are spiritual alerts. It is your responsibility to protect the atmosphere where your spirit rests. Invite in divine light and ask God to cleanse every corner, every crevice, every vibration that does not align with His presence. But even more powerful than cleansing your space is learning to listen to your inner alarm system, your intuition. That sacred knowing that rises in your gut, even when your mind doesn't have all the facts. It is your most trusted advisor in times of spiritual warfare. Intuition is how the divine whispers to you, "Don't go there," or "Don't trust that," even when everything on the surface appears fine. And too many chosen ones have paid the price for ignoring it, because logic may be manipulated, but intuition never lies. If something doesn't feel right, that's because it isn't, period. Your intuition will often warn you before the attack ever comes. You'll feel it in advance. A sudden tightness, a strange dream, a sense of dread, or even an unexplainable exhaustion when you think about taking a particular path. Do not dismiss these signals. The divine always gives a warning before allowing warfare. The problem is, many ignore the whisper, then cry out in confusion when the storm hits. But storms don't come without a shift in the wind. Your job is to be so connected to the voice of God within that you catch the wind change before the clouds gather. That kind of sensitivity can save your life, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Even when your intuition contradicts logic or expectations, follow it. It might tell you not to attend a meeting everyone else is going to. It might tell you to block someone who hasn't done anything wrong. It might tell you to move, quit, start, or stop, with no visible reason. But the spirit realm doesn't wait for proof. It speaks in advance. And when you begin honoring that voice within, the enemy loses access, because they operate in deception, and intuition cuts through lies. That's why the enemy works hard to make you doubt yourself, because once you trust your inner knowing, you become spiritually untouchable. When you start following your intuition with consistency, a powerful shift occurs. You move from survival mode to spiritual mastery. You begin to flow instead of force. You respond instead of react. You discern instead of decode. The enemy no longer confuses you, because you're no longer available for confusion. You trust what God is showing you even when others call you crazy. You obey the whisper before it becomes a storm. And when you live in that level of alignment, darkness has no more room to manipulate you. You become what they fear most, a fully awakened chosen one, walking in purpose, guided by divine wisdom, and untouchable by deception. Every single one of these attacks, the pressure, the fear, the obstacles, the betrayals, the energetic heaviness, are not signs that you're weak. They are signs that you are rising. They are proof that you matter in the spiritual realm. No one hunts the invisible. No one attacks the irrelevant. You are being hunted because your existence is disruptive to darkness, because your words carry codes, because your light exposes lies, and because your mission threatens every stronghold that keeps humanity asleep. That's why they watch you. That's why they follow you. That's why they fear you. But chosen one, fear not, for greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep glowing. Your path may be narrow, but it is sacred. The resistance is real, but so is your calling. And no matter how dark the night may feel, you are not alone in it. You are surrounded by light, by angels, by divine protection, and by others walking this same high path. If this message touched your soul, let us know in the comments. Type, "I am divinely protected," as a declaration of your awareness and strength. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, because every time you return, you receive exactly what your spirit needs to hear. I also want to take a sacred moment to thank everyone who supports us through Buy Me a Coffee. Your generosity allows us to continue creating deep, transformative content that speaks to the soul. If you feel led to support our work and help this light reach more souls, the link is pinned in the first comment. And if you're still feeling that pull, don't stop here. Watch the video that's now on the screen. Let your journey continue. Let your spirit be nourished. We are honored to walk this path with you. Until next time, stay in the light, protect your energy, and remember, you are not being hunted because you are weak.